Do you notice the whole trend of, oh, forgive me, Black Americans, we're so sorry. We are sorry. We're beginning to realize that you guys are the one that built everything. You guys built Nigeria for your sakes. We are now in Nigeria. Do not fall for that crap. Don't fall for it. It might be genuine. We are not saying it's not possible that that is genuine. But the truth is, do not fall for that trap as well. A lot might be involved in this whole, oh, we are sorry. Since when? Since when? Let's fight for reparations. Reparations should be paid. Black Americans deserve reparation. They gave us slavery, segregation, and stolen futures. And now they want to hand us an apology and expect us to move on. No! Black Americans don't need another sorry. We need what we are owed. We need reparations. No pity, no performance, but real justice. Are you hearing me? There's no pity, no pity. The way it's getting hot, everybody should come up and talk about reparations. Some people have been paid these reparations. Why are these people not paid? Their enslavers got reparations. Why have they not been paid till now? Insist on reparations so that everyone who is out there talking about, oh, we're sorry, Black Americans, they can all come out and say, no, these guys need to be paid reparations. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Why is a person that never was a slave deserve compensation from a person that never owned a slave?
Why is the person who owes his entire existence in this country to slavery now speaking against owed reparations? Why is the person who is not black not minding his own business about the black issues that don't concern him? This is just another situation where one of these coattail riders who without slavery, without the existence of black people in this country, without all of the civil rights victories that black people spearheaded, shed blood and lost their lives for, would not be in this country. His ancestors would have never been able to immigrate to the United States if it weren't for the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965. Thanks again to Black Americans, Asian people could immigrate to the U.S., take out small business loans that were denied to black people, and open up small businesses in black neighborhoods, where some of those Asian immigrants perpetuated racism onto black people, even though their American dream was made possible by black people. You're welcome.
My problem is in entitlement and victims. Don't like that.
The freeloader that I'm responding to says that he was raised in a black neighborhood. I'm curious if this is the way that he ended up in that black neighborhood. The model minority myth was created to pit Asians against other marginalized groups, rewarding silence, obedience, and hard work with crumbs of white approval. And this coattail rider is the embodiment of it, exploiting black struggle while groveling on his knees for validation from the very people who uphold his oppression.
If you are a descendant of immigrants who have come to the United States since the 1960s, I want you to take a look at this picture and keep this in mind if you ever have the question, or if you hear others have the question about, well, my parents came to this country, my grandparents, my great-grandparents came to this country with nothing, not speaking English, not knowing anyone, and they were able to make a life for themselves. Why can't Black Americans seem to do the same? So here's some homework for those of you who have that question, or if you hear others who have this question, take some time and look through Google to see what all of these things are. What is chattel slavery, specifically chattel slavery? You might have heard of Jim Crow. You probably haven't heard of Black codes. You probably haven't heard of some major racial massacres against Black folks in the United States and descendants of enslaved people. Maybe you have heard of redlining, but maybe you don't know about how the war on drugs is very much a racial issue. This is going to give anyone with these kinds of questions a really good sense as to just a sample of some of the things that Black Americans have had to face in this country that is very specific to their racialized experience, that folks who are immigrants or children of immigrants, grandchildren of immigrants who have come since the 1960s, that we have not had to deal with and our parents and grandparents did not have to deal with.
Reparations are an act of repair.
Now, Amanda Seals laid out 4 core assertions during her debate with the 20 Black conservatives, and I'm going to address the second one. The second one is her claim that Black people are entitled to reparations. I support and agree with this assertion, and here's why. Reparation has already been paid to others. When people dismiss reparations for Black Americans as impossible, I call nonsense. America has already paid out other groups directly. Jewish Holocaust survivors. Through U.S. Holocaust survivor programs and German reparations, survivors living in America receive monthly pensions, one-time payments up to $50,000, and medical coverage. coverage. The U.S. also allocated $26 million in 2022 for survival care. Japanese Americans. In 1988, President Ronald Reagan signed the Civil Liberties Act. Each survivor of internment received a $20,000 direct payment. Over $1.6 billion was distributed, along with a formal apology. Native Americans. Native tribes have exclusive programs not shared with the general populations. Billions flow through the Bureau of Indian Affairs, $3.4 billion for fiscal year 2023, and the Indian Health Services, $7.1 billion fiscal year 2023, and in casino rights, land rights, and tax benefits that generate billions in tribal-only income. Under the Refugee Resettlement Program, newcomers receive refugee cash assistance for up to 8 months of direct payments. In fiscal year 2023 alone, the U.S. spent $1.8 billion on refugee resettlement. So don't tell me reparations are impossible. America knows how to cut checks when it wants to. Outside of white descendants, no group contributed more to Americans' wealth than descendants of enslaved Africans. Cotton, agricultural, railroads, and even Wall Street itself was built on free black labor. Yet we're the only group without exclusive reparations program. Now, see, the problem with Amanda Seals' assertion, she never explains how. As soon as reparations are announced, everybody and their mama is going to claim they're descendants of slaves. Now, who will qualify? Do 100% black descendants get the full payment? Do biracial black Americans get 50%? Do people with 1/4 black get 25%? How do we even prove lineage when records were destroyed on purpose? Amanda and others throw out these claims without offering a realistic implementation plan. Even if the reparations were paid, there's no guarantee that money will stay in the black community. Without financial literacy, discipline, and ownership, reparations could easily become a temporary payday instead of generational change. Regardless, if black people waste the money, it's our right to do so. Yes, America owes black people reparations, whether it's direct payments, exclusive programs like Native Americans have, tax-free business zones, or land rights. It needs to happen, but it will never happen until we stop playing the victim and demand with a serious plan what's rightfully ours. So let me be clear. Cut the check, U.S. government, just like you do for all other groups. I said what I said. Come back for my response to her third assertion.
The black community needs reparations, whether you like it or not. Reparations to fix, to repair, to heal damaged and broken things. And no, we don't just need reparations for slavery, but that's a good start. We also need reparations for the fact that there are entire black towns hidden under lakes. Yeah, there are black towns that were submerged under bodies of water by white people. We didn't do anything to deserve this, and we did not do anything like this to y'all. And this impacts us to this day because these are places where black people could have thrived and could have built generational wealth that they could have passed down to their children. Also, these people basically have not gotten justice yet. And like half of the time, some of you white folks aren't even willing to even say, hey, I'm sorry this happened. Instead, you'll just deflect and say, well, the Democrats did it. And it's not just that. We need reparations for Jim Crow. Our grandparents went through that. And it's because of shit like Jim Crow that the black community is still poor to this day. Regardless of whether or not the white guilt is kicked in yet or how you feel about this, it doesn't change the fact that whether you acknowledge it or not, every white person in this country benefits from a system of oppression that benefits them at the behest of people such as myself. That in and of itself is grounds for reparation. And then it's really funny to me how there's some white people that will say that black people benefited from being slaves or being enslaved here in America. Please explain to me how we benefited from being here in America without mentioning Africa. The Africa, by the way, that is in the position that it's in right now, largely because of colonialism and imperialism. And the same people who think that we benefited from slavery will also tell us that we don't need reparations. Which is wild because our ancestors basically built this country and the black community itself has had nothing to show for it. We've yet to reap any sort of benefit from slavery. How can you say that we benefited from something when we've yet to experience the fruit of said labor? Also, reparations isn't just a one and done thing. It's not when we just all get cut a check. Reparations looks like releasing all of the black prisoners from prison who were incarcerated due to drug charges. Drug charges that they got because they had to sell the drugs in order to make money to feed both themselves and their families because they could not get jobs and were denied jobs that would pay them enough to do exactly that. And also, it looks like clearing those records as well. Reparations looks like investing within black communities for the sole purpose of lifting up black people and not hiking up the taxes or rent for black tenants. It's about making everything more accessible for black people. It's about giving black people the ability to start their own businesses without having to pay the loan back. It's heavily taxing people like Elon Musk and all of these other rich people that primarily got their earnings off of the backs of black people. Reparations has to be an ongoing thing. And with that, Autobots, transform and roll out.
I don't ever want to hear the argument that black people don't deserve reparations because we today weren't alive during slavery. One, because reparations are not just about slavery, and if you knew anything about reparations, you would know that. Two, because these two survivors of the Tulsa massacre are still alive and were denied their reparations by the state of Oklahoma. Miss Leslie Benningfield Randall, Miss Viola Fletcher, and Mr. Hughes Van Ellis began this suit in 2020 with hopes of seeing justice in their lifetime. Hughes Van Ellis died last year at the age of 102. About 300 black people were murdered in Tulsa, Oklahoma that day by a white mob, many of them police. Their homes and businesses were robbed and burned to the ground. Those black people who did survive, who were able to get away, were made refugees in their own country and thrown in concentration camps policed by the National Guard. The terrorists who did this were not adjudicated against. The black victims, the survivors, their descendants were not given $1 of restitution or reparations or a bit of justice. The argument against reparations, that no one who was alive at the time should get them, supports an idea that if we were alive at the time, we should get them. And yet when we were alive in 1865, in 1965, in 2024, that remains untrue.
This is one of the most well-articulated pro-reparations arguments that I've ever heard.
On race. It's based on status. A black person who comes here from Nigeria or Jamaica or Brazil, they're not owed a penny from America. They chose to come here. We are talking about the people who are freedmen, the descendants of people emancipated by this country. We still know those people, but you are one of those people. I am one of those people. A lot of those people here in the audience, I just told you I could break down my genealogy. My dear Nana was 101 when she died. My great-grandfather just died 3 weeks ago. He was 100. He remembers fighting alongside white veterans in World War II. He remembers coming back and seeing his white veterans get homes and lands and pensions and the door being slammed in his face. And we are going to say that America that says liberty and justice for all, that's okay, get over it, keep it moving. But we have to here never forget for everyone else's tragedy. And as far as from where reparations will come, I need people to stop thinking it's going to come from their tax dollars. Look at all the trillions that America spends right now. We talk about inflation, the invisible tax. We got something called the PPP loans. Do we remember the PPP loans? America spent $6 trillion on PPP loans. You know what they just did? They canceled all of it. And we didn't even know. America gave the corporation, the banks alone, $29 trillion. You know what they did with that? They canceled all of it. So let's start acting as if America is as hamstrung by debt as they want you to pretend.
When white people in the United States balk at the idea of paying reparations to black Americans who descended from slaves, they disagree with the Bible. Reparations are a form of compensation or restitution made to those who have suffered injustice, particularly those in cases of racial inequality, discrimination, and slavery. The idea of paying reparations to black Americans is not a new one. It has been a topic of discussion for decades, if not centuries. However, it has gained renewed attention and support in recent years, following the resurgence of the Black Lives Matter movement and the growing recognition of systemic racism in American society. As a Christian, I believe that reparations are not only a matter of justice and equity, but also a reflection of God's character and values. In the Bible, we see numerous examples of God's concern for the oppressed, the marginalized, and the downtrodden. From the Israelites' liberation from slavery in Egypt to the ministry of Jesus among the poor and the outcast, we see a consistent theme of God's love for those who are on the margins of society. One of the key biblical principles that underlie the idea of reparations is the concept of restitution. In the book of Leviticus, we see God commanding the Israelites to make restitution to those whom they have wronged. Leviticus 6:1-5 says, "If anyone sins and commits a breach of faith against the Lord by deceiving his neighbor in a matter of deposit or security or through robbery, or if he has oppressed his neighbor or has found something lost and lied about it, swearing falsely in any of all the things that people do and sin thereby, if he has sinned and has realized his guilt and will restore what he took by robbery when he got it by oppression or deposit that was committed to him or the lost thing that he found or anything about which he has sworn falsely, he shall restore in full and shall add a fifth to it and give it to him to whom it belongs on the day that he realizes his guilt." This passage emphasizes the importance of making restitution to those who have been wronged and not just restoring what was taken, but adding to it as a form of compensation. This principle of restitution can be applied to the issue of reparations to black Americans who have suffered centuries of enslavement, discrimination, and systemic oppression. Another biblical principle that supports the idea of reparations is the concept of Jubilee. In Leviticus 25, God commands the Israelites to observe a Jubilee every 50th year, during which all debts are forgiven, all slaves to be set free, and all property to be returned to its original owners. This was a radical idea of economic justice designed to prevent the accumulation of wealth and power in the hands of a few and to ensure that all members of society had equal access to resources and opportunities. The idea of Jubilee can be seen as a model for reparations in that it seeks to address the root causes of inequality and oppression rather than just treating the symptoms. By forgiving debts, freeing slaves, and returning property, Jubilee seeks to create a more just and equitable society, one in which everyone has the opportunity to flourish. As a Christian, I believe paying reparations to Black Americans is only a matter of justice and equity, but also it is a reflection of God's values and character. Through the biblical principles of restitution and jubilee, we see a model for how we can address the historical and systemic injustices that have plagued our society for far too long. While the issue of reparations is complex and contentious, I believe that as Christians, we have a responsibility to seek justice.
And as a matter of fact, since y'all want to say we are African Americans and we know that y'all have sold the people into slavery, I really feel like since you got all these African Americans, they sitting here saying that, oh, we're African American, knowing damn well we ain't from Africa. But anywho, hypothetically speaking, okay, since y'all want to say y'all from Africa, it is time for y'all to start paying reparations because y'all had a big part in slavery. So it is time for y'all to start paying reparations. And now you got to pay reparations not only to the Black Americans, you got to pay reparations to Jamaica. You got to pay reparations to Haiti. You got to pay reparations to South America. Oh, baby, let's go on and keep going to the get-go. Let's get to the nitty-gritty of all of this shit. I mean, since y'all are African Americans, and since y'all want to always turn this on a white T-man, it is time for Africa to start paying reparations to all these countries, starting with America. And that's just how I feel about it. I mean, y'all got so much to say in these comments, right? Y'all got so much to say to all of these people, but y'all were the people who enslaved your own people. So since you enslaved your own people, you need to start paying reparations. I think we'll get somewhere there. You owe America, Black America. You owe Haiti, Black Haiti. You owe Jamaica, Black Jamaica. You owe Caribbean, Black Caribbean. You also owe South America. We want our reparations. Bitch, pay up, right? Pay up. Since we so-called together, because we all are Black, and y'all started this shit, pay up, motherfucker.
Black Americans do not deserve reparations. That's actually false. We're the only group in America that has not been repaid after centuries of legal theft. Enslaved people built this economy basically for free. Well, actually, yeah, for free. After slavery, new laws was built to keep stealing. Black families were denied land. They were redlined out of housing. They were shut out of the GI Bill and loans that actually helped white families build wealth. And let's not say it's impossible, because America has paid reparations to the Japanese Americans and also the Native Americans. Yeah, we can argue whether it was enough or not, but that's besides the point. The point is, America knows how to pay. It's just who they choose to pay. So the question isn't whether can we afford reparations. The question is, why does America keep stalling to pay the debt that is owed to descendants of slavery? Why is that? Can y'all let me know?
Many people don't want to acknowledge that the Black community are the chosen people because, let's get deep into this, because in reality, they have the knowledge that most people don't have. Like, the only reason why people know how to farm is because of the Black community. The only reason why we have the music that we have today is because of the Black community. There wouldn't be no rock or metal if it wasn't for blues and jazz. There wouldn't be pop music if it wasn't for disco. There's a lot of things that they created that white people never did. White people really don't have that deep of knowledge. It's either stolen ideas or they're bought. Let's be real. What did white people really invent? You could say Tesla from Elon Musk, but he didn't make that. It was a stolen idea. If you go read what he did, he literally stole the whole business. You could say Trump, but what did Trump do? Stolen ideas, copied somebody else's ideas, just like his speeches. It's like a lot of white people just copy people. I mean, look at the dances on here. Who created those dances? the black community. And that's why this app's so boring right now, because it's not because all this stuff that's going on and the negativity. What's this, the black community literally just took their energy away. That's why this app was positive, because a lot of the white people were copying their dance move, copying this, copying that, and they stopped doing it, stopped posting on here, because none of you will give them the credit or the acknowledgement that they created that dance move or that idea. Before this land was taken, white people had no clue what the fuck to do. They were taught their language, they were taught how to farm, they were taught how to season their food that they still don't know how to do. That's another thing, seasoning. All their favorite foods, barbecuing. You love the barbecue, right? That was the black community's idea. This is why they are chosen. They have the knowledge that most people don't have. There's a possibility there is white people who are chosen, because let's face the facts. What happened during the Roman times and the slavery and all this other stuff, the black women were getting raped. So they were having their children. So there might be a bigger chance than we think that a lot of white people might have possibly a little black in them. That's why white people are jealous of them, because they know they have no creative ideas. They don't know how to cook, some of them. They don't know how to do much of anything. They have to copy and paste everything the black community does, because they have no ideas of their own, or they're jealous of their looks, jealous of their ding-dongs, whatever. Because their light is shining more than white people's. And honestly, the Bible says there's antichrists everywhere. The antichrist, blah, blah, blah. But white people are the antichrist. You have no Christ consciousness whatsoever. If anything, you try to erase Christ consciousness. I mean, look at all of you right now in this day and age. But yeah, none of you has Christ consciousness. Most white people are full of hate. And a lot of black people are full of love. How do I know this? Because the black community treated me better than my own race. Let's just face the facts right there. The black community has treated me better than the white people. Back to the Antichrist, though. You have Jim Jones. You have Trump. You have a bunch of white people always saying they're trying to save the world, and they always don't. Those are Antichrists. Always white people doing it. But yeah, most of our knowledge that we know today, the music we have today, the foods we have today, is all from the black community's ideas, which is Christ consciousness, and God gave that knowledge for a reason.
Many black inventors face challenges in reaping the financial benefits of their inventions due to systemic racial discrimination that hindered their access to resources, capital, and patents. Large corporations or government agencies often reap the profits of these black inventions. George Washington Carver discovered over 300 uses for peanuts, including peanut butter. His greatest contribution was in agriculture innovation, especially rotation techniques for cotton farmers. However, Carver did not patent most of his discoveries, and he worked primarily to help farmers. He made very little money from his inventions, while larger white-owned farms reaped the financial benefit of his discoveries, creating generational wealth for their families because they had the capital to take advantage of his discoveries. Next up, we have Garrett Morgan. He invented the traffic signal, the red light, green light, yellow light, slow down, and the gas mask. Morgan sold his patent for the traffic signal to the General Electric Company. So they reaped the financial benefits from the mass production and adoption of the invention, creating what? More generational wealth for white families instead of black ones. Morgan's gas mask was used in World War I, and he started his own business making and selling it, but still benefiting little financially because bigger companies came in and mass-produced them. Next up, we have Lewis Latimer. He invented the carbon filament for light bulbs and the process for manufacturing them, which improved the lifespan of electric light bulbs. Although Latimer made important contribution to Thomas Edison's light bulb, he did not personally benefit from the invention. He worked as a patent draftsman and engineer for Edison and other companies, but much of the financial gain went to the companies that used his patents because he didn't have the resources or capital to use them himself and build what? Generational wealth. Next, Granville T. Woods invented the multiplex telegraph, an early version of wireless communication that allowed multiple messages to be sent over the same wire. A black man, okay? You texting? Black man invented that. Woods received patents for several of his inventions, but often struggled with patent infringement cases because they came after him. for his inventions. Many of his inventions were used by larger companies, such as General Electric, which exploited his ideas without giving him significant financial compensation, and he didn't have the money to fight back. Next, we have Marie Van Brittan Brown, who invented the home security system, including a camera, monitor, and remote control door lock. Brown patented the invention in 1966, but her financial gains were limited. The patent was sold to a larger company that developed the home security industry further. Because why? Because they had more capital, more resources. As with many black inventors, she did not see substantial long-term financial rewards for her patent, for her inventions. So another opportunity for generational wealth lost. Denied by who? Anybody? Anybody got a guess? Right. Next, we have Dr. Patricia Bath, who invented the laser phaco probe, an innovative technology that revolutionized eye surgery. While her invention significantly improved cataract treatment, she did not personally profit as much as she should have. The technology was widely adopted in the medical field, but much of the financial reward went to the medical institutions and companies that had the money and resources to implement the technology worldwide. I hope y'all picking up what I'm putting down. Next, we have Otis Boykin. He invented the improved resistor used in electronic devices such as computers, guided missiles, and pacemakers. Boykin did patent his innovations, but he did not receive large-scale financial rewards. His work was incorporated into products by larger companies, which profited from the widespread use of his inventions, particularly in the electronics and defense sectors. Another lost opportunity for generational wealth for black families. Next up, we have John P. Parker, who made improvements to the industrialized furnace. Parker's contributions were significant in the industrial field, but like many black inventors, he did not fully benefit from the financial rewards. His work was used by larger companies, so once again, no generational wealth gained. That gain went to white-owned companies. Next up, we have Henry Sampson, who invented the gamma electric cell, a technology used in the development of portable power sources such as batteries. While Sampson did not receive a significant financial windfall from his invention, surprise, surprise, he was instrumental in the development of battery technology. However, much of the economic benefits went to corporations and the military that adopted this technology. So once again, no generational wealth gained for black families. I hope you picked up the importance of building black capital and resources, so our future patents and trademark opportunities for generational wealth cannot so easily be stolen from us. I hope you also picked up on the fact that this type of information is not taught in our schools because they don't want our black children to know what they're capable of by learning about these real-life black inventors, these amazing black examples. They also don't want their children to know about our black contributions because then they would know where their family money really came from. I love y'all, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Knowledge is power, power to the people.
Right? The same way I tell people all the time who are white working class people who hear about reparations for black people and automatically get upset. You know, they hear the word Africa and they're furious already. But the problem is this. The money doesn't come from you. No, it comes from the financial institutions that banked and built their stock exchange on labor, on the payback that they got from slavery. Because reparations is not actually what African people are asking for in this country. African American people are asking for the other half of reparations. You see, America already paid reparations at the end of the Civil War to slave owners. They gave them money per black person that they let free. And they refused to honor the people that were actually victimized. So until you do that, you will always be cursed, America. And you can call me a communist, a socialist, but you know what? It doesn't matter what you call me. You know that I'm right.
My grandmother is 104 years old today, right? She's alive today. Not my great-grandmother. Let me break that down again. My grandmother is 104 years old, still alive with us today. She was born 7 years after Harriet Tubman died. 7 years.
Fresh.
That mentality, listen to the connection I'm about to make to you. The people who were alive in that era and still in the era of my grandmother, who is still with us today, still have the mentality that black people should be enslaved, that black people shouldn't have the right to vote, that black people, in order to vote, should be reading how many damn jelly beans are inside of a jelly jar. That ideology never died. It just became covert. It was overt, meaning it was in our faces. People were being lynched. People were being attacked. 1965 Civil Rights Act was passed. It just moved everything from in front of your face to behind closed doors. And they have kids, and those kids have kids, and those kids are part of Gen X, millennials, and Gen Z. That mentality never died. There's a human connection and a human praxis. And those people that are those millennials and those Gen X, those people are your lawyers, are your judges, are your teachers, are your nurses, are your doctors, are your librarians, are your congress people. That's what that is.
Every time we say reparations, somebody panics like we just asked for their entire inheritance. But here's the truth. This country has already paid reparations, just not to us. And not just once, multiple times. So let's stop acting brand new. Reparations are not about guilt. They are about debt. America's been in the red with Black folks for over 400 years. And it's not just slavery either. It's everything after. Stolen wages, stolen land, the GI Bill we were locked out of, the homes we weren't allowed to buy, the neighborhoods we were pushed out of. My grandparents in Virginia had a big house. They built something themselves. They held it down. But do you know what's there now? A highway. Because the government decided that their land was disposable, but convenient for development. And we're just one Black family amongst many more. Reparations is not some favor. It's the bare minimum for a country who made Black struggle policy. Economist Dr. William Darity crunched the numbers. To close the Black to white wealth gap today, 14 to 17 trillion. That's just to bring us even, not ahead, just even. So let's compare. Iraq and Afghanistan wars, 6 trillion. 2008 bank bailout, 700 billion. COVID era PPP loans, over $800 billion. And most people haven't even paid that back. Congress. So don't tell me we can't afford it. This country finds money for war, for Wall Street, and corporate tax cuts on command. It just doesn't want to write us into the budget. And it's not just checks. Though, let's be real, for many families, that's exactly what it should be. It could look like cash payments like the Japanese Americans received, interest-free home loans for the Black folks that were locked out of generational wealth, student debt cancellation or free college at public HBCUs, land returns for families displaced by urban renewal, tax credits or guaranteed income based on ancestry. And miss me with the how do we prove who qualifies? This country tracks ancestry just fine when it wants to. Native enrollment, Holocaust reparations, the 9/11 Victims Fund. The issue isn't logistics, it's politics. Because if we got what we were actually owed, we'd stop scraping to survive. We'd have what they always feared: wealth, stability, ownership, power. We wouldn't need to ask for a seat at the table. We'd be flipping tables and buying the building. Reparations would not destroy America. They'd reveal it. They'd show who got rich off of stolen land, who passed down trust funds built on unpaid labor, who inherited freedom while we inherited cleanup. So yeah, reparations would change everything. And maybe it's time something finally did.
That sound one. I'm so happy that so many Black Americans are beginning to talk. They are beginning to speak up for themselves, and they're like, no, it's like these people are trying to take us for a fool. Pay these guys reparations. Some of their lands were collected and they were used to build prisons. Did you guys pay the owners of those properties, the lands? Do you pay them? Pay their children. And for those people that are saying the people who did the slavery are no longer alive, how dare you ask for reparations? Their children are here. If they had collected those reparations, you all will still be benefiting from what they got. Every generation of Black American has been told to wait. They keep saying, wait for freedom, wait for equality, wait for justice. But waiting hasn't brought us justice. It just lets the pain pile up. We don't want more speeches. We don't want all of that. We don't want symbolic gestures. We want what was taken from us. We want what was built on our backs. We want reparations. And this time, we are not backing out. We are not backing down. If you know you're not backing down, let me see it in the comment section. Are you saying, oh, okay, we accept, we forgive you guys, you can take it and go away, there's no problem, all we want is peace, all we want is acceptance? Is that what you want? Let me see it in the comment. But me, your Black American sister all the way from Nigeria, is saying reparations must be paid. Even Africans that are trying to say you all are part of us, you all left Africa to America, Whatever, they took monies before they sold people. So Africans too should pay reparations. Yeah, they should pay you guys reparations. Don't worry, I'm going to do a video on this. Right after this, I'm going to do a video on Africans must pay Americans reparation, or else they should stop calling you their children. They should stop calling you Africans if they can't give you the reparations. That's crazy. Let me see in the comments.